Check one. Let's see here. Pro 6. Turn that off. Check, 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 check. I don't know what's going on. Okay. I'll figure it out. Check, 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 check. Are we on? Check one. Looks like we are. Alright. So let me see if I can figure out where is that coming from. Check. 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 Is this headset? No. Check. What is the ring? I don't know. Okay, it's time to get this thing going here. So let me see what this button does. Okay. Is this the source of my ring? And let me see if I can figure this out. In between now and when we go live, that is muted. That's muted. Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Check. Test 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. It's still there. And I'm thinking it's being electronically generated. Okay. This might be part of the problem. How's that? That's better. Okay. 2 instances of Open Broadcaster running at the same time, creating a weird feedback loop.
Good evening and welcome to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. I will be working off the Taylor's Ridge machine located in Somerville, Georgia, but we will be networked in with a boatload of other repeaters that are way too numerous for me to apparently name. Tonight, our RF coverage area will be in excess of 31,000 square miles. This net takes place every Thursday evening at 8 p.m. I would like to thank everyone who has made North Georgia GMRS the most expansive and active GMRS network in the country. Your net control tonight is Atlanta 36 WQMN 733. My name is Bill, and I am transmitting in place on the net. You can talk about your day's activities, radio equipment, or anything you think we would like to know. This is a family-based network, so we encourage you to get your family involved. Once the floor is opened, it is permissible to address the other members of the net by their name or tactical unit number. The use of your FCC call sign is only required when you sign in and sign out of the net. When signing in, please speak slowly and clearly as you give your tactical unit number, call sign, first name, and location. At this time, I will take check-ins. Any Zello check-ins, please call Net Control now. This is 253 WQNB 274, Donald from Blairsville, Georgia. All right, another call. For any Zello check-ins, copied you, Donald, but any other Zello check-ins, please call Net Control now. Nothing heard. Any visiting, transient, licensed GMRS operators or new members of the GMRS network, that would be the North Georgia GMRS network, or any youth members 18 and under, This is any licensed GMRS operator who is not a North Georgia GMRS member who is in the area and would like to check into the net, or any new members in the group, or any youth members 18 and under. Please call Net Control now. All right, moving on to the mighty Pine Log Repeater. Any check-ins off the Pine Log Mountain Repeater, please call Net Control now.
This is
Plan 32, checking in, ball ground, Chris, checking in and out.
in and out. This is WQXB 554 Atlanta 517 in Dallas. This it's Atlanta.
Atlanta 263, Jennifer and Holly Springs, checking in and out.
This is Atlanta 780, WQUV 439, Houston and Austell. Check me in and out tonight, please, sir.
I guess I have to unmute my mic in order for anyone to hear me. This is WQIR 514, Atlanta 946. Checking in.
This is
Still have a ring.
Atlanta 940, WR 806, Shannon and Ackworth, checking in and out tonight, please, guys.
That checked in after Justin. If you can come back with your ATL number again for me, please.
Atlanta 940, aka Red 40, WRAR 806.
Any other Pine Log Mountain check-ins, please call Net Control.
Atlanta 948. WRER 430. Gary in Woodstock. Check me in and out, Bill.
Okay, let me catch up with who we've got so far. If you do not hear your ATL number called, your tank number called, please let me know at the end of the list that I missed you. I have, on our Zello check-ins, was Atlanta 253 Donald in Blairsville. I have Atlanta 32 Chris in Ballground, in and out. Have Atlanta 517 Bob in Dallas. I think he is in. I'm going to go ahead and list him as in. He can correct me in a moment if not. Atlanta 263 Jennifer Holly Springs, in and out. Atlanta 780 Houston in Austell, sounding great as always, in and out. Atlanta 946 Justin, whereabouts unknown. Atlanta 940 Shannon, in and out. And Atlanta 948 Gary in Woodstock, in and out. Did I miss anyone off the Pine Log?
WRCW 219, Atlanta 23, Mitchell and Holly Springs, in and out.
All right, copied your ATL with 23. Holly Springs, in and out. If you come back to your first name again, please.
Atlanta 23, this is Mitchell.
Thank you, Mitchell. All right. Any other check-ins from Pine Log? Any other check-ins from the mighty Pine Log Repeater? Please call Net Control now.
Says
if you heard me. This is Atlanta 91, WQXN 735, Alfonso from Marietta, checking in.
This is Atlanta 261, Scott from Holly Springs. Just going to re-clarify, checking in, Mr. Bill. Thank you, Net Control.
All right. I've got Atlanta 23, Mitchell, Holly Springs, in and out. Appreciate you checking in. Got Atlanta 91, Alfonso, sounding great into the machine. In Marietta, got him checked in. In Atlanta 261, Scott, got you in. Any other check-ins or anyone I missed off the mighty Pine Log, please call. Net Control now. Okay, then we'll open it up for any check-in from any repeater in the North Georgia GMRS network wanting to check in. Please call Net Control now.
This is Atlanta 46, checking in on my way to Loganville off the Jersey Tower. This is Mike.
I copied Atlanta 46, I believe. Correct me if not, and if you can give me your first name again and which machine you're hitting there.
In between Snellville and Loganville right now. Atlanta 46 Jersey Tower in front of Jersey. Able to hear me okay?
Bill, that was Atlanta 46 Michael on the Jersey machine.
Want to have comments or want to come back in, please do so. But I've got you as Atlanta 46. If I was incorrect, when you get in a better location, correct me. All right. Once again, any check-in from any repeater anywhere, please call Net
What is
Control
that
now.
ring?
That station, please try it again, sir. You are a little bit scratchy.
Over here in Loganville. I'm trying the Jersey Tower.
I'm copying possibly Atlanta 79. Anybody else get a better copy?
Atlanta 79 Kevin in Logansville.
Atlanta 97, Justin.
In Loganville, we'll see that was.
I believe I've got Atlanta 97, if I copied that correctly, and I've got you as in and out. Was that it, Justin?
Almost 7-9. And I don't know if he's in and out or not, but go ahead and mark him that way. And if he comes in later, that'd be great.
There. Any other check-ins from any repeater anywhere, please call Net Control now.
McDonough 22, WRCR 952, Tim in Stockbridge checking in, and 79 was checking in from the Jersey repeater. I think he's mobile, and I couldn't tell if he was in and out or not, but as Justin said, we can wait and let him get back in later on if he gets in a better spot.
Appreciate it there, Tim. McDonough 22. Sounding great. All right. we'll pause a moment and make sure we haven't missed anyone from any repeater anywhere. Net control standing by for any check-in from any repeater anywhere. All right, we'll get ready to go to the top for our comment section here. As I stated at the opening of the net, I am transmitting in place, safely ensconced here at the home location. Plenty of stuff to do, and hopefully looking for brighter days coming. Let's go to the top, to Atlanta 253, Donald in Blairsville.
Good evening, Bill, and good evening to the rest of the net. Nothing to report. Just had a good sunny day up here in Blairsville.
Well, we did too. It was gorgeous. It was hot. I think 81 I had on the vehicle thermometer when out mobiling around. Actually made a contact. I was up toward Lafayette. If we were north of the Mason-Dixon, it would be Lafayette, but I was in Lafayette and was able to hit the Taylor's Ridge machine and talk with Atlanta 9-8 a bit, and we were commenting on the beautiful weather and was hoping everybody was out soaking up some of the sunshine there. So appreciate your comments, Donald. Hang around when we throw it open there. And let's see here. We had Atlanta 3-2, Chris, who was in and out. And that will bring us to Atlanta 517, Bob, on the west side of the ATL.
Buddy, trying to through the Silverville machine tonight. Not a whole lot to report. Staying busy at work with all the virus stuff and being in public safety. We're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So staying busy there, writing contingency plans and all those kinds of things. So we're going to try to get a tower down Sunday if it doesn't rain too terrible bad down in McDonough. So that'll be a fun little trip. And then other than that, just sitting around saying hi to everybody on the net.
And I had to turn my volume down. I'm actually on that fine little moto that you programmed for me from the Lawrenceville Hamfest. That's what I am transmitting on as we speak. Had to dial it back. When things go through the links, I sometimes have a problem on the audio. Wow, you were directly into me there, and it sounded great. Hang around, Bob. We have Atlanta 263, Jennifer was in and out. Atlanta 780, Houston in and out. And that brings us to Atlanta 946, Justin. Good evening.
Well, good evening, Bill. As I suffer through some strange audio anomaly, I don't know if that's coming through the radio or not, but it sounds weird in here. Lots going on. It's been a crazy week, a lot of changes, and it almost seems like a different world today than it was last week. Appreciate you sitting in for us this evening. We originally had plans to attend a county sponsored meeting to talk about litter in the county and what the county's ideas were to try to get a handle on some of that. It seems to be our pressing issue in Cherokee County. Some of our neighbors like to throw things right out of the car instead of take it home and throw it away. And by golly, if that's our biggest problem, I think we're doing all right. But we were going to go to that meeting tonight. It has been, for some reason, postponed. So here I am in Studio B hanging out with you. And when you get to a convenient stopping place, if you would pass it back to me for some announcements.
I copied everything clearly until the point of me getting to a stopping place. If you'll repeat instructions at that point.
Yeah, when you get towards the end, Bill, throw it back to me. I'd like to make a couple of announcements.
All right, and appreciate you doing the relay there too for me, Justin. Audio just a little bit down on Somerville through the link, but booms in on those that are up here on the machine, apparently. All right, we had Atlanta 940, Shannon in and out. 948, Gary in and out. Atlanta 2-3, Mitchell in and out. And that brings us to Atlanta 9-1, Alfonso. Good evening.
Good evening, Net. Good evening, Bill. Just hanging out. Today is my day off. Work's got me on call starting on Sunday and working a half a week next week because of the virus. And that's about it. Just self-quarantining and doing some projects at home.
Check one, check.
With you there. I've been kind of quarantining to a degree, but being out in the country, able to pretty much wander around and not see another soul, but not into too much stockpiling. I usually try and keep about 30 days worth of stuff around just for whatever calamity, and so added to that, but added stuff I really liked, and found I'm sitting around too much, so I had to get out and actually cover some ground by foot and try to replace where I would have been going to a gym or something on that line because I'm putting on the pounds with all that great food I bought to use, and using it a little too much there. Great to hear you, Alfonso. Hang around before we open up the floor. All right, we have Atlanta 261, Scott. Good evening, Scott.
Sir, appreciate it. Hopefully you can get in on this other little HD. But nothing new to report. Just the kids and mommy have been here and homeschooling and so forth. I have been making my way to Buckhead every day for work, so we'll see how that goes. Luckily, the phones still ring for my line of work, so we'll see how that goes. But appreciate it, Mr. Bill. I'll leave it back to you, Net Control. Everything's good over here in Holly Springs.
Excellent news there, and you were making it great on the HT. And speaking of the homeschooling, I heard earlier today, or actually saw where someone posted, parents who were about at their wits' end being homeschoolers, and they said that basically that all the students had been suspended and the teachers had been fired for drinking on the job. So I think that's probably happening more places than one. Great to hear you. We had Atlanta 4-6 in and out, Atlanta 7-9 in and out, and that brings us to McDonough 22. Tim, good evening, Tim.
Good evening, Bill. Good to hear you tonight on the net there at Net Control, and you're sounding awful good down here off the McDonough machine, which I understand has recently been upgraded and some repairs have been done, so I think it's running pretty well down here now. All this virus stuff and everything shutting down, the world just seems a little surreal right now, but I've just been sitting around the house today and taking it easy and go back to work tomorrow, and then I'm off till Monday. But other than all the strangeness that we're all going through right now and trying to find a roll of toilet paper, not a whole lot to report there, Roger.
Copy that. And on the craziness, and the great thing about the radios, thanks to Marconi, is that we can keep our social distance while socializing. It's a great thing. So with that, let's pause here. And in fact, before taking any additional check-ins or looking for anybody else out there, let's throw it back up to Atlanta 946. Justin.
Well, thank you, Bill. I just wanted to talk briefly about our plans for a special event net. This Saturday, I'm going to break for an audio report. Okay, hopefully my audio is good. It sounds good on this end, so I'm going to go with it. Saturday's radio event is going to be a trivia net. And the way that we want to make this work is Joe and Mary Catherine will be hosting the net, and they'll be calling the trivia questions, and we'll be answering those questions on Facebook. That will allow us to accurately score responses and be able to determine the most correct answers and that sort of thing more accurately than trying to have everybody pile in and make an on-air contact. Now we will ask people to go ahead and make an on-air contact um, and announce their answers on air, but we would like for people to first enter their responses on Facebook, and that way we can accurately score. So that's what our plan is for Saturday. We have some things in the works for a number of upcoming special event nets, but in order to make them happen, we need some people to volunteer to perform the role of net control. So we've got some good ideas and some things to keep us busy and occupied and hopefully help relieve cabin fever. So if anybody is interested in participating in making these things happen, I would love to hear an email from you. You can do that at my name is justin.byerly@gmail.com. And of course, you can also email Julie at nggmrs.org. Either one of those emails will get the message to me, and we will be able to respond to you. Back to you, Bill.
Excellent, and was able to copy you clearly. Excellent plans. Want to encourage everyone to participate and at least monitor and heckle, I guess, the losers. But looking forward to it. I am at least planning at this point to, if not participating, at least be on the sidelines and hopefully having a great time. And let's be honest, internet issues can be coming up with everyone working from home. Netflix is trying to throttle down on Europe right now on their bandwidth, which will probably be a war over that. And if nothing else, hopefully everyone will be tired of all those other things and looking for some great entertainment value. What better way to do it than on the North Georgia GMRS networks? That sounds great, and hopefully have a boatload of fun. We'll pause here a moment and ask for any other additional check-ins. Any check-ins from any repeat or anywhere, please call Net Control now. All right, nothing heard there, so we're going to throw the floor open. Anyone with anything on what they're doing to pass the time, I have about 9 radio projects to work on and hopefully get one finished here soon. And anyone with ideas on what people can be doing or things you're finding fun to do or anything you wish just to pass on to the group or to an individual at large. The floor is open. Net Control is standing by.
This is Atlanta 46. I was trying to check in earlier. I know it's kind of hard to hear me. I was in Snellville traveling towards Loganville, trying out to hit the Jersey Tower all the way from Snellville. I'm in Loganville now. I'm actually in my driveway. Am I sounding better now than I was earlier?
You are Atlanta 46, coming in good. Go ahead and throw some comments in there for us.
I work for a car dealership, and even though sales are slow, we still get a triple customer every once in a while. We're still selling every once in a while, so it's not completely dead out there yet.
Probably get some good deals then. That's what you want if you're, I guess you're shopping, is to be a loan customer and get that loan customer discount. Over.
Yeah, I'm the IT manager at the dealership, so I get to kind of see the stuff we're putting up there, and I just put a bunch of banners up there showing, interest rates going down to like 1.9% and 90 days, no payment. So if you don't worry about the next 3 months, you don't have to worry about that. So, they're doing all sorts of good deals out there. Here's a great time for that.
and depending on how things go, they're making all kinds of noises of allowing people to slide some on payments, things of that nature, and maybe a big check coming to a mailbox near you from Uncle Sam. I understand things are being floated from $1,000 to $2,000, depending on the number of adults in the household and how many offspring. I keep hoping they'll throw pet offspring in there because they're eating me out of house and home, and I'm hoping they'll get at least, I don't know, maybe $250 for them. But at any rate, yep, a lot going on, and hopefully, as they're saying about every day here, we can flatten the curve. And if we can do that, maybe we'll ride this thing out. But appreciate your comments there, 4-6. You're sounding great on your last transmission. I will go ahead and throw the floor back open for anyone else with any comments to the group.
Sorry about that. That was 946 net.
Atlanta, 946.
You know, Michael raises an interesting point. I saw a comment from my brother today down in St. Augustine, Florida. He has recently, you know, maybe 6 months ago or so, purchased a new Ford pickup truck, and he had a conversation with the finance people at Ford, and they're going to defer his payments until July, and took him 5 minutes on the phone, and it was easy peasy. They had no reservations about doing that. So if anybody is concerned about being able to make payments, I recommend, whether it's credit card or mortgage or whatever it might be, get on the phone, and get on the phone sooner rather than later.
Excellent news. And just to repeat, Justin was relaying information that Ford had dealt with his a sibling regarding deferring payments, etc. And especially individuals that have already lost their jobs. Some of them are still trickling along, others are not. But as they've said at the top of the federal ladder a couple of times, this is nobody's fault, at least within the continental United States fault. It's not our fault. We're fighting it. It is a war. Any way you want to look at it, it is a war. And seeing the outpouring of help to those that need it, and especially with the entities in the private sector kicking in, not only on the research, etc., but also on the financial side of people that are going to be in trouble, not ruining their credit and not ruining their lives over something that really was not their fault. So hopefully, if we can bend the curve and get things at least manageable, we'll ride this thing out. And hopefully things will look brighter here in another week or two, I hope. All right, we will go ahead and stand by on net control and ask for any additional check-ins or any additional comments for the net.
ATL 98 signing in on net tonight.
Atlanta 98, booming in, sounding great, Clarence. I don't know if you're working off sassafras. It's coming through the link great. Was commenting earlier when Donald was talking about the sunshine that was the topic for us, that and fishing earlier. But hope you're still doing good this evening.
You was talking about the virus. I think they're doing a great job trying to combat the virus and help the people. But go back and look on your phone or your computer, whatever you got, and type in how many people in the United States died through the flu complications of 2018 and 19. And you won't believe what you come up with. Over 50,000 people in America have died since last July, August, and so far this year with just the flu. And I'm not talking about the the flu we're talking, you know, the new flu. This is old flu. Why come they didn't do something about it then, as far as doing what they're doing now? Why come they didn't combat it back then and try to save some of these people's lives? 50,000, over 50,000 people. That's a lot of people died from the flu.
Yep, I agree with you there. And I can say this, that most of the deaths from either flu or even from this horrid coronavirus appear to be aged. Over 80 is a big chunk, which most of them are going to have some underlying health issues. Look at Italy. Oh my God, look at Italy. Hoping that's not going to be us. But the people who are carrying it, and they don't realize it, and passing it on to aged relatives, and those with underlying health issues. Those are the ones that are hurting the most. If you've got underlying health issues, then you're in its crosshairs more than anyone else. And let me cycle. And not the millennials, but apparently the Gen Xers, I guess the group down below them, the invincible ones in their own minds. Read a story today that a kid that came back from spring break, aged grandmother, and those that thought they were invincible from it, they're now finding that a lot of them are not. Newer data they were talking about yesterday showing even the younger ones are winding up in the hospital. And a lot of survivors on this, let's be honest, just like the flu, a lot of survivors. And those are the ones, if we can keep them out of the hospital, save the hospital beds for those who are going to need it, the older folks or those with existing conditions. And it's a pretty good commercial to try and keep yourself healthy. And all the hand washing, as someone said the other day, that's a good idea whether there's a pandemic or not, you know. So all that's good advice, and I appreciate you checking in there, Clarence. We'll go ahead and throw it back open for any additional check-ins or any other comments for the net.
17. Check with Alfonso. Are you still doing those Wednesday night events down at the Governor's Club on 78?
I had to give all that up. I'm no longer a match director down at any of the clubs, and but there's some great guys that took it over. They're still running the matches down there on Tuesday night, and the Governor's down here in the Powder Springs area, and also they're running a match on Monday night in Kennesaw.
I'll be that Monday in Kennesaw and Tuesday in Powder Springs. Thank you very much.
And there also is a rifle match in Kennesaw on Thursday night every other week.
Thursday every other week at Kennesaw. All right, very good. Go ahead, 36.
What are you talking off of? And have you got a beam ported up here? Because if you're hitting Somerville, you're sounding great.
TK890, I've been using for quite a while. Try to look, see if I'm on. I've got a beam pointed that way, but no, I'm on the Omni right now. So my topography is wide open to the north, so I've got a lot better coverage going north than I do south.
Well, please leave yours on scan in case I'm never linked and need to holler at somebody because you'll make it into Somerville without a doubt. And let me pause here a moment. I heard sound like some static, maybe someone trying to hit a machine. We'll stand by if anyone else wishes to check into the net or comment.
This is Atlanta 57 WQZC 882, Andrew in Holly Springs.
Good evening, Andrew, sounding great. The floor is open for comments. Hope you've got some comments for us.
Oh boy, what a difference another week makes. 2 weeks ago I was talking about work and how we thought that what was going on was slowing our business, and some people looked at me like, really? This should really affect you. Oh boy. Yeah, it definitely affected us, and we'll see what's going to happen. It's been very interesting. They've almost turned the faucet off at work as far as traffic, as far as customers coming in. So, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. We are doing good over here as a family and as a unit, and we are pressing forward. So, back to net control.
Excellent comments, and in all seriousness, hard times, and we don't know what's coming, and I guess you could truly say, as it's been said numerous times from the top, it's a war effort, and for those that don't believe that it will take that kind of commitment, I think they're going to be surprised. And to be honest, the commitment that's being shown has been very, very encouraging. And that's what we want. Pull together, get rid of this blame thing, or at least beat it down, because they say there may be 2 or 3 waves of this. I studied, gee whiz, let me just be honest. I Googled up the Spanish flu once it was referenced a few times, and then saw a chart that went all the way back to the bubonic plague and actually behind it. And I wondered, how did they go that far? But at any rate, it went back and gave different criteria and deaths, etc., of the different plagues and other viruses that have come through. And this one's bad. And with it being worldwide, it definitely has at least thrown people into trying to look out for, hopefully, one another and kill the thing eventually. Let me cycle. Also heard today that there's some encouraging news on some existing drugs that have been used for malaria and other things that have shown promise. And they say they're way out from maybe implementation, but I guarantee you, if they can implement it on someone that's at death's door and give them a shot, they'll be doing it. And it has shown some promise. And also, they're looking at the antibodies of the ones who have survived, and are looking at trying to give at least some immunity to the first responders if they can nail that down. Because the personal protective gear in short supply has been horrendous. For those marching in as a first responder and to not have the proper gear is absolutely criminal to do that to them. So hopefully they're getting a handle on that, from even allowing the industrial 95 masks to be utilized for hospitals, etc. And people are turning them in, contractors, etc., and donating them. And so that kind of spirit's what we want. But good deal. Appreciate you checking in, and you were sounding great. We'll pause for any other comments or any additional check-ins for the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. All net control now.
Atlanta 9-1, piggyback on you.
Yeah.
I talked to a friend of mine who's a long-haul truck driver. He said they have lifted the restrictions on all truck drivers on their weight limit and also on how long they can drive. So supplies are coming to all the stores and supermarkets, so we don't have to worry there. He said every truck driver is out there doing their part.
Copy that. And I know they've done similar things when they had the big pipeline break down in the southeast that ruptured and interrupted the oil flow and gasoline flow up here. They did that. Another great thing they did was basically give reciprocity to nurses and doctors across state borders. If you're a licensed nurse or licensed physician in one state, then you are in the states around you or anywhere else. And I know know they've pleaded for retired doctors and nurses to re-enter the workforce, but getting rid of the problems, the bureaucracy, the red tape, any of the above that prevent common sense in a time like this, I have to say, it has been exceptional. It has been exceptional on how they've been able to slice through this stuff and allow common sense to roll in. So great comment there about the truckers. I think it's encouraging to allow any physician or any nurse anywhere to step in and help. And the floor is still open.
McDonough 22 with a comment.
2-2.
Yeah, Bill, I was just thinking about what you had said earlier about Italy over there, and me and my sister were talking about that on the phone last night, and people need to keep in mind that they are quite different than the U.S. over there. First of all, they have a huge elderly population, and their whole society, everybody doesn't drive around in personal cars like we do here. I mean, they have them, but by and large, they travel in groups and public transportation, and they have, just due to their family and their nature, they gather in groups all the time. They're always having family and social events and all that stuff, and so they're all pushed together in groups over there much more than we are over here. They're much more of a dense population. So we're kind of spread out, and plus we have the benefit of the travel ban or travel restrictions that was put in place early on. And I think I really appreciate everything basically that's been done. I think everybody just needs to keep a positive attitude, and it looks like we may be able to get a handle on this thing with all that's going on. And just people need to remember everything's going to be all right there, Roger.
Oh, yeah, I second everything you said. And their society is different. And apparently, not to pile on the Gen Xers, but, oh my God, their city folk travel to the country to visit their elderly relatives very regularly. The youngsters go see their grandparents regularly. And that is a very positive thing to do, but in a situation like this, when you're a carrier and you don't know it because you've got no symptoms, they were carrying it right into that elderly population that you referenced. So I think it was wise here when they shut down visitation at the VA hospitals, when they shut down visitation at the nursing homes. I think it is tragic that people are having to deal with that. But it's much more tragic to have to deal with the deaths of our elderly. Another reminder of this non-grouping, 10 below quantity in a group, was the funeral home I passed by today. 2 names up there. Underneath each name, private ceremony. How sad, and what kind of commentary to have to be burying your loved one, and you can't even have the normal safety valve, the normal respite of having your friends and relatives close by and hugging you during this time, and they can't. So think about those folks as we're going about our business of trying to bury your dead, even in this country now, without the additional help that you get by having your friends and family close. It's a sad commentary, but that's the life we've got right now. All right, we're going to go ahead and say this is a final call for any check-ins and a final call for any comments for the net.
QBG 40, 8098 for another comment there. Yeah, Bill, I think that they're doing a great job at combating this virus. I see everything on TV that they've been doing, and I agree with it. I don't disagree with none of it. But what really bothers me is the people, where they're going and buying groceries. you can't even get a dozen eggs at a grocery store. Sugar, flour, stuff like that, basic stuff that the people normally use every day for their meals. That's what I can understand. Why come people don't buy? I know some people cannot afford it. I understand that. But like for myself, I buy groceries once a month. That's the way we've been doing it for years. And I've got enough stuff in my house probably that I can eat on for probably 6 weeks or longer. And people they don't keep a supply of groceries in the house, toilet paper, stuff like that. It just bothers me to see people just rush out and empty the grocery stores when they could already have a lot of this stuff on hand in the house to use and not wait. They buy groceries from week to week. On Saturday, they go buy groceries, and by Friday of next week, they're slump out of groceries, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to have a supply of groceries in your house to last you at least 2 weeks anyway. And it just don't make sense to me.
Well, I can't disagree with you. As I stated earlier, I usually keep about a month's worth of stuff here, but always the dry beans, the rice, the other things to have. But good God, look at a snowflake fall, and everyone's making milk sandwiches, apparently, because all the milk goes and all the bread goes. So it's human nature. And some of it's economics. Not everybody can hoard a bunch right up front for, to know they've got a 30-day worth. But about anybody can make sure they've got several dry packs of pinto beans and rice and other things that you can survive. But I saw a piece by a supply chain expert. Let me cycle. And they were assuring everyone that our supply chains are secure. Our supply chains are the envy of the world. Our farmers are the envy of the world. We got the food. It'll make it there. They just can't bring boatloads and boatloads of paper towels and toilet tissue at one time. He predicted that within a couple of weeks, you're going to see toilet tissue sitting in every aisle of every store on the planet because everybody's already got all they need. And it's that hoarding mentality, which is CVS today. I was able to pick up an 8-pack. I had some, but I didn't have a boatload. And I picked up an 8-pack, and I found when I got to the front, someone had 2 or 3, and they told them, no, you can only have 1. Well, I had 1, so I made it on the wire. But I thought that was a great, at least, move by CVS to say that, no, we're not going to let you hoard it up. But our supply chains are excellent, and unlike a famine or a blight or something, that wipes out food, we've got it, and it's coming, but it's just human nature. Again, the first snow or ice that comes down, people clear stuff out of stuff that they don't even need. It's a herd mentality and sad, but human nature. All right, we've still got the floor open for any comments or any check-ins. Net controls standing by.
Bill, yes, it is human nature to do this. But, this might be a learning lesson for people to keep us a better supply of groceries in your house, like toilet tissue. Don't go out and just buy 4 rolls of toilet tissue. Buy a roll of 12 or something like that. Something that'll last you for 2 or 3 weeks, or depending on how many people you got in your house. This is just a learning lesson. The people need to take this as a learning lesson and abide by it and try to deal with it better than what they're doing, what they have done. The grocery stores, I went in the other day and a lot of the shelves are just totally empty. Dry beans, bread, eggs, you name it. A lot of the stuff is just totally, it's gone. And that's like you say, it's human nature to go out and buy this stuff because they want to eat. They're not going to go starving. But this is a learning lesson people should seriously consider and use it and abide by it.
And I agree with everything you said there. It's should be a learning lesson, but oh, good God, you know. Some people, you can't teach them a blame thing. But it takes sometimes calamities and catastrophes to get people's attention. And also, sometimes Darwin will come rolling in and take care of it for us, you know. So hopefully life lessons learned all around. And for those who can't keep enough on their plate, this country is the most generous of any other on the planet. Even now, students who are unable to go to school for obvious reasons, but that is their protein and their meals have come from school, and if it shuts down, they've got nothing. They're opening up the schools to at least let them come and get the food. For those that can't come get it, they're using the school buses to deliver it to the stops where the kids normally go anyway. I don't think you can get any better than that. Rather than just saying, oh, well, too bad we're shutting down the schools, they're keeping the food flowing for the kids that count on that. And I don't know anywhere else on the planet that does anything on that nature.
This is a great nation, and we should look after our neighbors and help and do anything we can do to help them out. I will myself. I know. I guess probably 90% of the people probably would. Of course, you're gonna have some people that's not gonna do it, but it's just human nature. And hopefully, when all this is over with, we can look back and see what the government has done, and we can certainly say, well done. They've done a great job, and that's about the only thing I can say. I'm totally satisfied with what I see on TV, what the government has done to help to prevent this virus from getting any worse than what it is. Okay, all right, I'm going to go ahead and clear off with you, Bill. You sounded good. Your conversation was great. Like a lot of the stuff you said, I think that you make you point real good. Take care, and we're going to be on the side.
Your comments, and I agree with you that I think that for having been behind the line, we've dug in and gotten ahead as best we could compared to any other nation on the planet. We dug in and we're trying to get ahead, but nobody saw this coming. Even a couple of months ago, okay, yeah, looking like it might be a problem. Nobody saw this coming, and certainly nobody saw the death and destruction and the economic downturn. 9/11 lasted a few days for the airlines, not so much now. The cruise industry, they're toast until they get some help. And who knows, maybe a reordering of society, but that really doesn't matter to me right now. What matters to me is the survival of our elderly that have been warehoused in nursing homes, unlike some societies, I guess Japan, who reveres their elderly. I take my hat off to anyone that tries to keep their old folks in their home as long as they can and reveres their knowledge and the fact that, yeah, they dug in at World War II and other calamities, and it's our time. And hopefully you'll see the best in some people. You may see the worst in others, but by golly, I think the best will win out. All right, with that, we're going to make our final call for any comments or any check-ins for the North Georgia GMRS net. All right, nothing heard. This will now conclude the North Georgia GMRS regional net. We had a total of 16 fine check-ins this evening, including myself. Oh, no, including myself would be 17. Let's do the math. We'll be now returning the repeater back to normal use. Everyone that signed in should sign out. Thank you for allowing me to be your guest net control tonight. This is WQMN 733, Atlanta 36, clear the net. Good evening.